Well, why don't we introduce ourselves and tell you a little bit about us? My name is Dr. Damon Bates. I was a practicing provider for about 14 years. I had started with a group practice and then had my own practice. I was a foot and ankle surgeon. And then after 14 years, I changed course and went back, actually got my MBA, and now I'm a vice president for Iredell Health System in our Iredell Physician Network. So I'm over all of the outpatient physicians, the occupational medicine, our surgery centers, and our urgent cares here in Iredell County. So you've probably seen our logo around some of our clinics, especially in Mooresville or Statesville North. So let me have these guys introduce. I brought a couple, one of our business people, related people, and more of our clinic.
Hey guys, I'm Heather. I've been in healthcare for about 16 years now. I'm more on the business side of practicing. So I do a lot of administrative stuff. I do work with clinicians and providers, taking care of, make sure our patients have a good experience. So I'm more of that office manager, paperwork, numbers, and service. Doctor happy. So we have
All right, let's move on. So to tell you, where is the wireless? So to start with the journey of healthcare, and I know, whether you go on the biomedical side, whether you're going to be more on the provider side, administrative side, there's a lot of schooling involved with healthcare, just like a lot of other careers. I started in a family that was all attorneys and teachers, so I don't have the black sheep of wanting to go into healthcare or something different, because I just did not have an interest in a lot of the other side of things. I started in high school trying to explore what I wanted to do, and actually started in 7th grade doing an internship with a physical therapist to see, because that's what I thought I wanted to do. And as I evolved, I was able to do, luckily I'm from the Midwest, my school district had internships all over the place, was able to shadow different providers, different clinics, get in the hospital setting, et cetera. And it really sparked my interest in what I wanted to do. So can you go to the next slide? Or do I have it? So I had a collection of schools, and this isn't even all the schools that I've gone to, but started, like I said, in high school. I got my bachelor's of science pre-med in college, got my doctorate of medicine, and then did a residency in medicine. That was 3 years. So it was 4 years of undergrad with pre-med, 4 years of the medical school, and then 3-year residency. And then I went on later on to get my MBA. So these are a collection of schools and a lot of money spent at some of these schools. And like I said, practiced medicine for 14 years and then been an administrator now for 5 years of it. So I've kind of gotten both sides of the spectrum to see between clinically practicing and the other side. One more. So why the medical field over anything else? These guys can attest it's never a dull day, and you never do the same thing twice. So if you're a person that likes repetition, probably computers or accounting was more your speed. But if you want something where you come in and you are a problem solver, you want to fix things daily and help people, healthcare is for you. Just some other things, learning obviously about medical science and systems, and it's really a lifelong learning. Medicine changes constantly. If you're going to go to any of the surgical specialties, any of the specialties, even primary care medicine, it's always evolving. There's new drugs, there's new technologies, thanks to our biomedical friends that invent things for us, and obviously new procedures that you're going to get. Next one. So medicine is wide. I couldn't list, and I'm sorry it's so small, but I couldn't list every possible career in healthcare because like our accounting friends, you know, you have your CPAs, you have your auditors, and you have your general accountants. With healthcare, we probably have what, guys, 30,000 career choices that you can go into, and it's hard to narrow down. So what I kind of did is just listed a bunch of them, but everything from our medical assistants to our physicians to our RNs that help us to pathologists to speech pathologists, respiratory. There's just a wide range of career choices. So for people who may be a little more introverted, there's the specialties of pathology, radiology, to our very outgoing pediatricians, general practitioners, etc. So there's really a healthcare path for anyone. And then there's the non-clinical. Heather, for example, is a clinic manager who oversees everyone within the clinic. We have our finance people in healthcare. We have people more in the C-suite, executives that take care of broad ranges, and then do the paperwork and billing and coding for our specialties as well. So this kind of gives you just a little bit of feel of what it takes to get to each. Towards the bottom are our physician friends, and you can see all of the school and residency that you do. Dependent upon your specialty, our primary care and internal medicine docs typically do like a 1 to 3 year residency, all the way up to, if you want to be a plastic surgeon, brain surgeon, neurosurgeon, you can do 10 to 12 years of residency. And as you go down, you have pharmacists, our physician assistants, nurse practitioners, etc., that go to their various schools as well. So it just kind of gives you a different taste of how far you want to go with your schooling and how far up the chain that you really want to go. So job growth, I know it probably doesn't mean a whole lot to you guys yet because you're still young. However, if you look at the fastest growing careers on the left-hand side of 21 and 22, probably 4 or 5 of them are within the healthcare field, and it's always going to be that way. We're projected to have something crazy like 30,000 less physicians than we are going to need as our baby boomer friends continue to retire, and nurse practitioners, which is one of our highest growth rates and what we need, we're something like 50,000 nurse practitioners short within the next 20 years of this country. So going into healthcare, you're pretty much assured a job. It just depends on what you want to do and what level you want to achieve. But there's immense growth in healthcare, right? Everyone, unfortunately, needs a healthcare provider or healthcare team member at some point in life, whether it's an emergency room, whether it's a regular primary provider, whether you have surgery, etc. So the growth potential is there, whether you want to go into a main healthcare field, whether you want to go into research, pharmacy, those are all very hot topics and hot fields right now. So if you want to go, please, into healthcare, what I always suggest is you look at your why you want to go into it. If you want to go into it for financial reasons, trust me, there are way easier ways to make money than going into healthcare. If your why is like mine, that all of my family were attorneys and teachers, but I wanted to help people, I wanted to heal people, that's why I went to healthcare. I tried every day to try and make someone's life better in a medical capacity. And now that I'm in administration, it's just a different kind of helping people, but it's still that same path of making quality care for our patients. Researching health careers, it seems daunting at first. When I was in high school, I said, there are 1,000 different ways that I can go with this. How do I even narrow down what I want to do? And I say, talk to people. The best thing you can do, and I brought literature here if you want my card, if you want some information about some of the docs in the area, you can take it just to see what careers that are out there. But do your research. I didn't have the internet back in the day to be able to research. I had to actually talk to people, but getting on the internet, just researching a career. If there's something that triggers that you're watching a TV show and you think I never thought about that, of Googling that just to see what it takes and what's involved. Internships and volunteering are the best way to see for sure. So,
sorry.
So we have opportunities at Iredell, Atrium, and Bond, and other health systems in the area have opportunities just to go in and see if that's really what you want to do. Healthcare is hands-on. You're not gonna be sitting in an office all day. You're not gonna be, typing on the computer all day. You're gonna be. So if you wanna be active, involved, getting out there, meeting people, that's really what healthcare is about. So I just wanted to do a kind of a shorter presentation because I really want to know from you guys what questions you have, right? Because again, healthcare is such a broad topic, narrowing it down is difficult, especially as you're starting to think about it. So if you have questions about anything healthcare related, even some more on the research side, when I was in medical school, I participated in research trials and worked with bioethicists, biomedicine a lot. Anything that you guys have or questions or what it takes to be your, get to the point that you're at, I'm open to answer. Yeah.
How old do you have to be to volunteer? I get teens, 13, I get 11, 12. Start with 15. But a lot of places you have to be 16 or 15. So how old do you have to volunteer?
It depends what you want to do. The hospital, if you want to go to our hospital, it's probably 16 to be able to do. We have our center in Mooresville on Bluefield Road. That's part of Iredell. And we have volunteers that help room people, that help direct people just to kind of get that kind of feel. And it can be 15, 14 range just to be able to do that. We can't let you into OR or physician offices. Probably less than 16, I think, is our cutoff only for OSHA regulations and some government regulations.
And
So,
who they contact internships? I
So-
think about getting.
yeah, I'll give you all my cards so that you have it. Feel free to reach out to me and I can connect you to the different avenue that you want to go to. So if it's, nursing, obviously hospital is going to be best for you, and I'll put you with our CNO of nursing. If you want to observe surgery or be able to at least see how we get patients to the back, we can certainly do that in our outpatient surgery center in Mooresville. So it just kind of depends on what angle you want to do. I'll tell you that as far as the specialties that we have at Iredell, we have primary care, internal medicine, orthopedics, pain management. We have a neurospine surgeon that's very cool because they have robots that they operate with at Iredell. 2 cardiology practices in the vascular clinic. We're getting ready to hire a urologist. So we'll have a urology clinic and we'll have pediatrics that's starting in January. So we're very excited to start those service lines coming up. So we kind of have a wide variety. We have physical therapists, occupational therapists. Urgent care is a great opportunity, as well as the emergency room, to see a wide variety. We have CAT students that come from Iredell County, our CNA students that come rotate with us through all of our clinics and outpatient, especially our urgent care, and that's the best because they can get a lot of experience within urgent care and see a lot of pathology there.
Now, a lot of the students also do partnerships with, how much do you have partnerships at all with the children that do even high school graduates?
We do. Our RN program, I believe some of the RNs come to rotate with the hospital. The medical assistants, actually our director, Carla, is a new professor for them. So we have pathways for those students as well. So I would have to check and see if anyone's interested in RN stuff because that's more of the inpatient side.
Yeah.
My focus is outpatient, but we do partner with Mitchell, especially for the nursing side. I'm not sure what that is.
Wondering about them taking classes with them. To really get to work.
Yeah, and a lot of times I've had, since I've been here, I had an intern who was a Master of Health Administration that came and did an internship with me. We've had students rotate pretty much through every department. Surgery has a lot of students that come through, whether it's scrub tech students. Our docs have high school students and medical students that come through and observe surgery. So we can put you in contact if you're more on the surgical side to be able to shadow some of those. Because I'll tell you, just like I did when I started, I knew I wanted to be a physical therapist, right? That's what I wanted to do. Saw it on TV, thought it looked great. first day in the clinic, I said, this is not for me. And it's the same thing with people, I want to be a surgeon, that's all I want to do. They go into the OR, after they get up to the floor passing out, they realize this is not for me. I want to do something else. So it's really just getting that hands-on experience and seeing exactly what it is that you want to rule out, or so that you what you want to do. Because I think at times we all still want to know what we want to grow up in healthcare because it evolves and changes so much.
To reach out because of what happened for college applications, and I've already had an internship. I volunteered in this field. Like I kind of have to experience, so they know that they're interested.
So let's talk about that about the college aspect of things, because I was biology pre-med. My classmates in medical school, my best friend was an English lit major. And so to get in, as long as you have the requirements to certain schools, you don't have to necessarily follow the complete science track, because medical schools want to see variety. Just like to get into college, they want to see that you have good grades and that you have a life outside of school, right? They see that you volunteer, that you participate in activities. It's the same thing, just elevated for medical school. And so they want to see a wide variety of stuff that you did in college. If you go to college and you get a 4.0, that's not going to guarantee you that you're going to get into med school, because they're going to want to see what activities you participated in. Did you be part of French club? Were you part of fraternity, sorority? Did you play sports, music, whatever it is? It's the same concept of getting you into medical school to start at a higher level. And same thing with a lot of schools. There's one popular career right now, CRNAs, which is certified registered nurse anesthetist. So our anesthesiologists have CRNAs that put people to sleep for them, and their schooling is rigorous. And to get into that is very difficult. When I was going to med school, way smarter people than me applied to dental school, but I didn't get into dental school because it was so selective. So a lot of those programs, higher level programs, you really have to distinguish yourself and stand out. Just as if you're going to go Princeton, Harvard for undergrad, it's the same concept. The other thing I'll tell you too, I went to a smaller state school for undergrad. If you're going to go higher level, you're especially going to go to medical school, one thing to really think about is how much you're going to be taking out of student loans. My parents paid for undergrad because my state school was very cheap. I sat next to my best friend who was an English lit major, went to Columbia, and by the time they got to medical school, had $200,000 in student loans. So when I graduated, parents said you're on your own going to medical school, I had almost $200,000 in student loans. So this individual probably had $400,000 in student loans by the time they graduated. So just because you're going to elite schools doesn't mean that someone that you go to a state school, you're going to be sitting in the same spot as you can differentiate yourself from the pack, so to speak.
And I think this is like, I didn't think this was going on, it's like being long term. Those loans are in general 10 to 30 years. And now think about having, we'll just say, below $200,000 mortgage and a car payment, child care, possibly, food. You're paying for all that plus that loan. My brother and sister-in-law came out with $1,000 to a loan, and it was $300 something a month. So let's take that times 5.
Yeah.
That's $1,500 a month.
My student loan payments
Just
were,
student loan payment,
Yeah.
not in the mortgage car payment. So I think it's a big difference in how much you're coming out.
and it's something you don't necessarily think about now, right? Because you're just focused on doing well, getting into schools, etc. But it's something to take into consideration. You don't have to go to a Harvard or a Yale to get into medical school. They look at really the person holistically, and the interview is very important because they're going to call you in and they're going to ask you questions. They're not going to say, what did you get in calculus or a grade? They can already see that. They're going to say, tell me about you. If you say, I love calculus and I love studying, they're going to say, okay, next, because they're going to want to see that you're a well-rounded individual and that you know the why behind why you get into some of these schools.
If you just learn like in 4-H or like that type of, that if you're a well-rounded individual, so you didn't have to see in calculus, like that aids and but everything else could still go to medical.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. I mean, you can't get all D's and expect that you're.
yeah, no.
You know,
I think so many people are so focused on that.
Yeah. no, and I'll tell you, I had like a 3.6 in undergrad. And I took a full load every semester, but I was in the orchestra, I was in fraternity, I was in 2 clubs. And I really just tried to diversify to say, this is who I am. This is what I want. So when I wrote my essay in medical school and I sat before that panel of 10 people interviewing me, it was the focus on, this is why I do it, to pour my heart and soul into it, and that's what they're going to see. Healthcare is not a rigid science as far as like an accounting, computer science kind of thing. They want to see that you can handle dealing with patients for the rest of your life, that you can handle outside of that book study, because it's really much more than just learning scientific principles. It goes way beyond that. And that's why they look upon, I had a history major in my med school class, I had an English lit major, because they know those people are a little more well-rounded. They're going to think different than tunnel vision of, I can memorize something to get done. Yeah. Once you're in high school or in college? As far as while you're still in high school applying to get in pre-med? Things that, clearly the sciences. I'm not sure what Iredell schools exactly have, but they're going to see the basics, biology, chemistry, physics. If you have any biomedical courses, if you have any life science classes, they're going to look upon as great for undergrad. Getting into a pre-med program is just like any other major in college. They're going to look more for the science stuff, but again, they're going to want to see, what did you just did you do anything else but study the whole time? Because what they're also looking for is when you get into college, and certainly when you go to medical school, so you guys take probably 6 or 7 classes in high school. When you get to college, you're going to be 15 to 18 credit hours, which would be 5 or 6 classes. When you get to medical school, my first semester was 32 credit hours. And so I had one class that was 18 credits, which is gross anatomy. So that meant you spent 18 hours just in class a week, plus a 5-hour lab, plus going home and studying at night, just for that one class. And so I don't tell people to scare you about that, because clearly I was able to do it, and I wasn't a full-time student. But just say that they're going to want to see that you do have a life outside, because if you literally in medical school study 24 hours a day, you will not be there past the first year. And the readout potential, we had a class of 150 that shrunk to 80 after the first semester. And most of them were the people that you never saw. They literally went home and studied the entire time and they looked out. And so I say that because you really have to have that other side of it, whether it's music, sports, interest in history, whatever it is, to kind of get you through, be relaxed and focused and ground.
Piggyback off something Dr. K said in the beginning about asking questions, about, asking questions to medical people coming in doing internships. One thing that I was familiar with was basically doing like a shadow for a day, or some hospital systems did it for 2 days. And you guys mentioned pediatrician. Go and spend a day at a pediatrician's office. After that day, you're either going to be like, nope, this is not for me, or you're going to get more interest in it to really be in there. And you might not do anything other than just shadowing maybe the doctor for half a day, nurse for half a day. It'll give you that insight of being there in there. Pediatricians, I worked at a pediatrician's office. It is a lot of fun. Pay-wise, they don't get paid as much as like a surgeon, but on the other hand, it is a busy job. Kids obviously need a lot of immunizations, there's sports physicals, regular physicals. There's kids that have chronic illnesses and stuff. So it is a busy career and constantly, I mean, all day, it's kids, it's vaccines. But some people look at it as very rewarding as well, being able to see these kids come in newborn and then being with them until they have to transition to adult care around. So, you know, you mentioned that, but weren't sure. Come see us, our pediatrician will be here in January. Come spend a day at the office and just see what goes on and how it is. Like I said, you may go in and come out and be like, nope, kids aren't for me, or you might really find it more intriguing. So, I want to bring that up for any of you guys if you're thinking about physical therapy or being an RN and being in surgery centers. Look into, coming in and shadowing for a day, because being in there and just seeing what goes on per day is really interesting, and it'll kind of help your decision making and maybe looking at developing another field.
And I think healthcare too, when you bring up salary, is kind of misleading to say as much as, because I'll tell you, because I do the contracts for our providers, our general practitioners typically start around 150 to 200. Pediatricians are about 250 to 300,000 a year, and surgeons go up to 600,000 to 700,000 a year. So this is not you're a pediatrician, so you're making 50,000 a year.
No.
You're going rigorous training with peds, and so you're starting typically around 200,000 a year right out of school, because it's a specialty that's needed. So nurse practitioners are a big field as well. They start about 100 to 120. You can make much more than that if you're in a rural setting or urban setting. You just happen to be in the suburbs where most people want to be. And same with physician assistants. Physician assistants and nurse practitioners can practice medicine in the state of North Carolina with just having a doctor under doctor supervision. So most of them run regular clinics. We hire nurse practitioners or PAs to practice medicine without a provider, a physician in the office. PA school, I believe, is 2 years now. So you do undergrad in 2 years and you're out. Nurse practitioners, I believe they have a bachelor's in 4 years and then a master's, which is 2-ish years. And then if you want to get your doctorate in nurse practitioner, it's another couple of years as well. So people who may not want to go the full route of medical school, there are great options to think about as well for physician assistant or nurse practitioner, because you can still do very well for yourself with a lot less headache, less schooling as well. Pharmacy is a huge field right now. It's hugely needed. Pharmacists are PharmDs, so they're doctorate of pharmacists now. They round with the providers in the hospital. So they are the ones that, trust me, coming from the provider world, I would call a pharmacist first and say, tell me the drug interactions of this, because I didn't memorize that was this thick, and they're the resin resource. So they're side by side with the docs, and they make a lot of money as well. Physical therapy is huge right now as well, because we can't find physical therapists. They're very difficult to find. I think physical therapy is fun. It's almost like being an athletic trainer, but in a clinic setting, to where you get to work with people and rehab them, see them at their worst and bring them to the best. So really anything in healthcare, salary-wise, is going to probably be above the minimum, because we're becoming more and more scarce. If you look at all of our fields and all of our job openings, just for Iredell Health, which we are a small system, it is page after page after page, because there are just such few people going into those fields. So it's a career, you're always going to have a job, you're always going to be in need, and you are appreciated. I think some fields when you go to, I had a lot of accounting friends and teacher friends in college as well, and they never really felt appreciated. Whereas I have since I stepped into medical school, because people come to you as a professional. They look at you as you are going to fix them, and they will forever be grateful to you. And when I practiced, it was daily. People would come in, they're fixing the problem. They're coming back. They're sending you thank you cards. They're saying, so appreciative of it. Now, it's not all fun. It's work. But nonetheless, you still get that different level of gratitude in healthcare that I think you get from some of the other things. But I'm biased.
Well, even being in administration, I still get, I sit at a desk sometimes, but I also get to go in the clinic and have my team, the doctors I work with. Then I also have that patient contact. And, that's fun. Asking, how was your visit today? Did you get good care today? If they're upset and, trying to fix that. So you get that interaction and you do get that, that feeling where even as an administration person, you have helped them because talk to them, had a great visit, how are they feeling? Sometimes you get to know them on a personal level if they come to your clinic. So even though I'm not a clinical person, I still have that patient contact, which is nice. I get both. I did not know. I worked at a university in the payroll office, then I went to the bursar's office and worked with college students. Then when I moved here from New York, I knew someone that was in the medical field, and so I started working in neurology. Once I got in there and started seeing how things are different every day, that satisfaction of being able to help people and working with a great team, that's when I decided, and I've been 16 years later, I've been in the medical field, and it's very rewarding no matter what position.
And we have a lot of people that cross over. So a lot of people like Heather, for example, that might come in as a clinical or a non-clinical person, decide they want to go back to school, become an RN, or they want to go to medical school, or they want to be a nurse practitioner or something like that. Or you have people like me who practice in the administrative side. So it's a field where you're not really locked in necessarily. There's flexibility. So people will come to us and they'll start in a clerical role, and they'll say, they get to experience healthcare every day. And so they say, I want to be a clinician, and they go back to school and become a clinician. So it just kind of depends on route. And I don't think that, nowadays we don't live in a world where you're like our grandparents, where they went to work every day. This is what they did. There was no change, etc. Now we have mobility all over the place that we go to. And so I think healthcare allows that because you can go different directions once you get into a system.
So, go ahead. Yours is a lot. It's rewarding, and your days go by quickly. Like you said, never a day is the same. But we should only work. There's lots of different schedules. Some people work 3-12, some people work 14. I work 5 days a week, and we have a lot. Thank goodness we're growing and getting big.
So Donna's role, she's a large at our Mooresville facility. So her day would consist of pulling cases, getting ready for cases, managing the staff. She's a manager down there, making sure our surgeons are happy, what they have to need. She's in there scrubbing cases, getting her hands dirty with the surgeons as well. Heather's day, it's going to be more meeting focused. It's going to be more managing staff, more of that. I hate saying 9 to 5 because you've got that 8 till 6 kind of. And then when you get to more administration, it's a lot of meetings. It's a lot of working with providers. If you want to go more into clinicians, when I practiced, I started surgery at 6. So that means I was up probably 4:30. Did a couple cases, then I would go to the office and I saw patients until 5 to 6 o'clock, and then I was doing charts for an hour or so. So it's a life that you have to get used to. You're not clocking in at 9 and clocking out at 5 typically, because with healthcare, you never know what's going to happen, right? We don't know. A patient's not going to come in and say, this is my one specific problem. You give them exactly what they need, they're out the door. So you, as a clinician, are a clinician, a psychiatrist, a financial person. You're doing everything for these patients. So you have to get used to breaking that mold and not just realizing that we're 9 to 5 Friday. Amount of studying. So, pre-med program, and it depends what major, because you can be biology, pre-med, chemistry, pre-med, it just depends what you are. You know, I took on average, I averaged 15 hours because I probably was a little more crazy, but I took 6 classes a semester typically. And I mean, I studied, you know, nightly for 2-ish hours maybe, until I got those classes that had my papers like history people, and I was like, okay, this is not for me. So get me into a lab and I'm gonna do stuff in the lab. When you hop up to med school level, you're gonna be in class probably 8 till 5, and you can expect to study till probably 10 at night, most nights, weekends, finals week. You know, that's all you do kind of deal is study. It's doable and it's fun as long as you're in it for the right reasons. Gross anatomy was the grossest class ever I took, but the most fun class because it was truly learning the body inside out. So it's a lot of studying, but again, as long as you have something that can distract you from an outside perspective, whether it's to go for a run, whether it's to get out to fresh air, whether you have a hobby of music, or sports, or whatever, you need that outside. And even that, we all have hobbies outside of work because it's stressful. No matter what you're going to need a hobby outside. But healthcare, you need that distraction. I think we can all agree in healthcare because we talk all day. We deal with people all day. When I come home, my significant other works from home and wants to go out and do things all the time. I want to come home to a quiet house for an hour because I just want to rest. And so I think it's just finding that balance for yourself because you can burn out in healthcare if you let it take over life too much. So I had 4 years of undergrad for pre-med, 4 years in med school, and my residency was 3 years. So, and then again, it depends. If you're going to go into some of the higher level surgery things, you can expect residency to 5 to 8 years, 10 years. Pediatrics, 4 years of residency, so 4 work. Residency is basically you are a doctor in training, meaning that there's no more book work. You are learning, depends what you're, if you're going through a surgical specialty, you're going to be in the OR every day, you're going to be in the clinic seeing patients, you're going to be monitored by a physician and mentored, you're going to be rounding the hospital. Even though I was a foot and ankle surgeon, I had to do all of the different rotations. So I was an ED, I doing overnight call on ED, I was orthopedics, I was primary care. Only one I didn't do is eyeballs because they gross me out, but any other general surgery. So you get a taste of all the different things. And you really don't have to declare until it's 4th year now, 3rd, 4th year, what you want to go into. So you can go into medical school thinking you want to be a pediatrician, you come out and be an orthopedic surgeon because you're getting in there. You don't have to specialize until you get to the end. You have to be a residency. So it's more about learning the body as a whole, learning how to deal with patients, and then choosing which field to go to. Emotional maturity, I would say 1,000%, because this is a field where you have people's life in your hands. If you make a mistake and you are, pick on my accounting friends, but I too many of them. You make a general ledger mistake for accounting, someone messes up, you get reprimanded, you go back and you correct the mistake. If you make a mistake as a physician or as a surgeon, you affect someone's life forever. And so whether you're an RN working, you forget to push a medication or do a test at a certain time, you're in more of like a Heather role, and you forget to schedule someone for a time and you leave the clinic shorthanded, that affects patient quality care. So emotional, try and think of the best way to determine having a level of respect for the field of healthcare is essential, because again, it's not something that you forget to turn into assignment. and your supervisor yells at you for it and you move on about your day, this directly impacts patient care. And so you have to go into it knowing that you are a true professional, no matter which of those careers that you choose in healthcare. And that's expected of you, because patients look at you that you know what the answer is. Whether you do or not, you need to come across that you know what it is, or will be looking it up and leave the room, because they just expect that. Yeah. Great question. There are a lot of those. I'll tell you a story. After my first semester in pre-med, I went home and my dad said, you know, I did well, but I didn't get straight A's like I did in high school. And I said, I don't think this is for me, because I was deflated, right? I got a B in biochem, organic chemistry, whatever I've taken the time. And he said, well, what are you going to do instead? And I said, great question. This is the only thing I've ever really wanted to do. And he said, there's your answer, right? And so I think during the tough times, it's keeping the eye on the prize at the end, knowing that this is what you're looking for your life. Because especially if you're going to go through medical school, it's a commitment. It is a life decision that you're making, because you can't go through halfway through medical school, gather 200,000, 250,000 debt and say, actually, you know what, I think I want a little loss. You know, and it's hard to reverse course once you get through that program, no matter what healthcare program that you go through. And so I think it's just that motivating factor of, here's the reason why I'm here. I truly want to help people and I make a difference in people's lives. And that's how I know that I'm in healthcare. And when I'm studying, it's 2 in the morning, learning the musculoskeletal system of the abdomen for a test the next day. It doesn't always feel like that, but that's truly motivation. And, you know, connecting with people that are going to help you. You know, friends in medical school is everything. Forming study groups, forming those bonds, pushing each other, and being able to go off steam. Part of the indoor soccer team at school, because we all just need that, right? That extra. So I think it's just realizing why you're there and that true why. And you have to ask yourself, no matter what field you want to go to, business, you want biomedicine, you want medicine, what's the reason why you're choosing that? Is it just because you saw something or somebody told you it was a cool idea, or is that truly deep down what you want to do? That's what I always tell people in high school or junior high, middle school, that what is the why? And it's going to change, right? Because again, I thought I wanted to be a physical therapist, and my why was I want to rehab people. I'm a big sports guy. I want to be able to take people that hurt themselves playing sports and fix them. And then I realized that's not for me, and my why changed. So as long as you adhere to that's the reason why I want to do it, you're going to. Questions, guys? Yes. Histology would be very important. And it depends on what exactly you want to do biotechnology wise. I had one friend of a friend that went to biotechnology, and they kind of changed course a little bit. They were lab related work. Biochem is big. Certainly any kind of technology classes, because technology, everything is changing so rapidly that you want to stick with those kind of things. And really, but when you get to the level of once you get into school, you're really forming that mentorship. In my background, and I said, I need to know what I need to get into the school, and they were able to really help assist get to that path that I wanted to do. So they were integral, taking classes, making sure that I had, you know, the schedule that I would say that's probably the best. Great field though. One class that is beat up class, sure, is anatomy and physiology. So anything that pertains to body movements, whether you're going to RN, physical therapy, OT, biomedical of any sort, medicine, anatomy, and physiology is a great class to take because you're going to have to take it in college in some aspect. So if your high school has anything related to physiology or anatomy, and another one is psychology. I know it sounds kind of odd, but that pertains directly to so much that we do in medicine, how to speak with people, how to connect with people at a different level. Most every high school has a psychology course, trying to enroll in psychology because it really changes your mindset of how you're thinking, which is going to help you in college as well. In my group, that takes so it gave me a head start. But I would say anything in healthcare, as far as broadly or biomedical fields or lab work or research, any of the basic, sciences that you can take. But I'm trying to think what else. Anatomy, physiology, psychology for sure. Sociology even was a good one. That sounds kind of weird too, but really touched on a lot of medical principles in sociology. Systems. One thing that you won't learn in any of these programs is business. So if you're going to go into any healthcare related field, whether it's medical school, NP, PA, therapy, RNs, you will not have a business class. So I would also throw business in there because what I was expected when I got done with my residency is I joined a group practice and learned that way before I went to group practice, but you have no basis for how to get a loan, how to start your practice, what you need to do the startup. And so that would be a great benefit as well, at least a basic structure that I relied on my accounting friends who I always make fun of to be able to help me with those things. But really, it's having that extra knowledge. Say definitely that. I would say healthcare related individuals are probably the most social because we do it all. Whether we think we are, most times or not, really do. Healthcare, I mean, our teams that we have, take our surgery example, they're a lot of fun. I mean, we have events all the time outside of work that they get together with. A lot of partners do that as well. Because you build a family in healthcare because you're in the trenches together, right? And so I think that's definitely, myths that one might be that you don't have life outside here. That's just not true. I think there are people who, like any field, attorneys, you could say they don't have a life outside of work. Yes.
So what places can you go to
So most every system,